When it comes to the American Mafia, two names from Philadelphia stand out like legends: Joey "Skinny Joey" Merlino and Nicodemo "Little Nicky" Scarfo. Both men rose to power, left behind legacies of fear, and became two of the most talked about mobsters in American history. But when it comes down to it, who had the bigger impact? Who was more feared? And who truly deserves the crown as Philly's most notorious boss? First, let's talk about their origins. Nicodemo "Little Nicky" Scarfo, 1929-2017, was a notorious American mobster who led the Philadelphia crime family during the 1980s, a period marked by extreme violence and internal strife. Born in Brooklyn, New York, Scarfo moved to Philadelphia, where he became involved in organized crime. He rose through the ranks of the Philadelphia crime family, becoming boss in 1981 after the murder of his predecessor, Philip "Chicken Man" Testa. Scarfo's tenure as boss was characterized by brutality and a penchant for violence. He imposed a street tax on various criminal activities in Philadelphia and South Jersey, demanding payments from drug dealers, bookmakers, loan sharks, and others operating in his territory. Those who refused were often met with lethal force. Under his leadership, the Philadelphia crime family became heavily involved in methamphetamine trafficking, controlling the supply of P2P, a key ingredient in meth production. Scarfo's ruthless enforcement of his policies led to numerous murders, including that of Greek mob boss Chelsias Bouras, signaling his dominance over the region's organized crime. Scarfo's violent methods and authoritarian rule led to internal dissent and attracted significant law enforcement attention. In 1988, he and several associates were convicted of racketeering, murder, and other charges, resulting in lengthy prison sentences. Scarfo was sentenced to 55 years in federal prison. Scarfo died in prison on January 13, 2017, leaving behind a legacy of violence and a tarnished organization that struggled to regain its former stature in the years following his leadership. Scarfo's rule was marked by fear, violence, and an obsession with power. On the other side, Joseph Salvatore "Skinny Joey" Merlino, born on March 13, 1962, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, is a prominent figure in organized crime, notably as the reputed boss of the Philadelphia crime family. His father, Salvatore "Chucky" Merlino, served as the underboss for the Philadelphia family under Nicodemo "Little Nicky" Scarfo, embedding Joey deeply into the Mafia's world from a young age. In the early 1990s, Merlino led a faction that challenged the leadership of then-boss John Stanfa, resulting in a violent mob war. Following Stanfa's arrest and conviction in 1994, Merlino assumed control of the Philadelphia crime family. Unlike traditional mob bosses who maintained a low profile, Merlino was known for his flamboyant lifestyle and frequent interactions with the media, earning him the nickname John Gotti of Passyunk Avenue. He was often seen hosting charitable events, such as Thanksgiving turkey giveaways and Christmas parties for the homeless, which endeared him to some in the community. Under Merlino's leadership, the Philadelphia crime family engaged in various illegal activities, including gambling, loan sharking, extortion, and drug trafficking. His tenure was marked by internal strife and numerous attempts on his life, reflecting the volatile nature of organized crime in Philadelphia during that period. In 1999, Merlino was indicted on multiple charges, including racketeering, and in 2001, he was convicted and sentenced to 14 years in federal prison. After his release in 2011, Merlino relocated to Boca Raton, Florida, where he opened an Italian restaurant named Merlino's. Despite his claims of retirement from organized crime, law enforcement continued to monitor his activities. In 2018, he was sentenced to 2 years in prison for illegal gambling. While Scarfo ruled with fear, Merlino ruled with finesse. But don't be fooled. Behind that flashy smile was a man with just as much ambition and ruthlessness as any mafia boss before him. Scarfo and Merlino had completely different leadership styles. Scarfo ruled with absolute terror. He believed fear was power, and his reign led to one of the bloodiest eras in Philadelphia mafia history. Disloyalty meant death, no questions asked. It's estimated that Scarfo ordered over a dozen murders during his time as boss, including the infamous hit on Salvatore Testa, one of his own top men. Paranoia ruled his decision-making, and that paranoia would eventually lead to his downfall. Merlino, on the other hand, had a different approach. While Scarfo's rule was drenched in blood, Merlino focused on being seen as a man of the people. He threw lavish Christmas parties for kids and was often seen laughing it up in public. But make no mistake, Joey knew how to handle business. He didn't need to flex violence as much as Scarfo because his charm gave him influence. He kept Philly's Mafia afloat in the face of intense FBI pressure, relying on his charisma and connections. When it comes to popularity, this is where Joey Merlino pulls ahead. Scarfo was feared but never loved. His name alone struck terror in the hearts of his men. He was seen as a tyrant, and even his own soldiers plotted against him. His reputation as a killer overshadowed any chance of respect from the public. Merlino, on the other hand, was seen as a celebrity gangster. He loved the cameras, loved the attention, and loved playing up his Robin Hood image. He partied with celebrities, attended public events, and had a way of making people root for him, even if he was a mob boss. While Scarfo ruled from the shadows, Merlino stood in the spotlight. Public perception leaned in Joey's favor. Who was more feared? Here, it's not even close. Nicky Scarfo was one of the most feared men in Mafia history. His obsession with loyalty led him to kill friends, allies, and even family if he suspected betrayal. No one was safe from Scarfo's wrath, not even his closest confidants. He ruled with fear and paranoia, and that paranoia eventually caught up with him. Joey Merlino had a different reputation. He was respected but not necessarily feared. Sure, people knew not to cross him, but his charm and the way he handled business kept his soldiers loyal. While Scarfo's men secretly despised him, Merlino's crew stayed loyal, a testament to his ability to inspire trust rather than terror. Every boss falls, and Scarfo and Merlino were no different. Scarfo's paranoia and bloodlust put him on the FBI's radar. With informants popping up in his inner circle, it was only a matter of time before he was brought down. In 1988, he was sentenced to life in prison without parole, and his reign of terror was over. Merlino, however, played his cards a little better. Although he faced charges in the early 2000s, he was only convicted of racketeering and served 12 years. He eventually walked out of prison and went on to live a legitimate lifestyle, at least on paper. Despite multiple attempts to put him back behind bars, Merlino remains a free man to this day. So, who left the bigger legacy? Nicky Scarfo's reign of terror is unforgettable. He made fear his brand, and his name is still synonymous with violence and paranoia in the world of organized crime. But Joey Merlino's legacy is more complex. He wasn't just a gangster, he was a public figure, a symbol of the modern-day mafia who played the media as well as he played the streets. If fear is the measure of power, Scarfo wins. But if we measure influence, popularity, and longevity, Joey Merlino takes the crown. Scarfo ruled like a dictator, Merlino ruled like a king of the people. And in the end, that might be the reason Joey Merlino is still walking free while Nicky Scarfo died behind bars. So what do you think? Was Scarfo the most feared mafia boss in Philadelphia history? Or does Joey Merlino's legacy of charm and control make him the true king of Philly? Drop a comment below and let us know who you think had the bigger impact on the American Mafia.